Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard, but
What's going on, boxing fans? It's Backchat TV, and I'm back with another video. This time, we're going to be speaking about the up-and-coming fights that are coming up in the next few months. A few of them we're going to talk about. We're going to briefly talk about Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, Riyadh season. This is on the 8th of March 2024. We've got a few other fights that I'll briefly mention. Vasily Lomachenko versus George Kambosos fight, May the 12th. Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, the rescheduled date for May the 18th, if that ever happens. And then June the 1st, we've got another undisputed fight, Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol. Very, very difficult fights to predict, but I will be trying to predict these fights in this video. Let's just briefly get into it. I don't want to speak for too long. Anthony Joshua versus Ngannou. What chance has Ngannou got? This is really, what most people are concentrating on. It's a difficult fight. It's a difficult fight, and I'll tell you why. Francis Ngannou has proven himself time and time again in the UFC, and that's why he's the world champion in the UFC. Beaten a lot of great opponents, Stipe Miocic being one of the main ones, and a whole host of other opponents he beat in the UFC. He's also a credible opponent because of his close decision loss to the Gypsy King Tyson Fury, which nobody expected, and now that's the reason why he's estimations have gone higher. People now think that he has a chance against anyone in the world. Is this true or not? Well, I think Francis Ngannou, you have to say he always has a chance. He has a big punch. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. He's very durable. He's got good reactions for a big man. And he's also probably going to be trained by Mike Tyson again, which I think that little partnership worked perfectly the first time. He's got a great chance against Anthony Joshua, but I feel like he hasn't got as much of a chance as people think. The Tyson Fury fight wasn't really a true reflection of Tyson Fury's abilities, and I feel like Anthony Joshua obviously is going to learn from the mistakes that Tyson Fury made. So there's a lot of reasons why I think Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight. The obvious experience in boxing. He has way more experience than Francis Ngannou, all the way from the amateurs to all the high-level pro fights that Anthony Joshua has fought. It's very hard to match up with that level of experience, and I think Francis Ngannou will struggle with that. That's the first thing. The second thing, Anthony Joshua has the advantage of watching Tyson Fury almost lose to Francis Ngannou and realise what mistakes he can make and what things he can't do against Francis Ngannou. So I feel like Anthony Joshua will take Francis Ngannou extremely serious due to what he's already seen. So he's got the advantage of, not hindsight, but seeing what has happened already to Tyson Fury. Another reason why I think Anthony Joshua's got an advantage is because the fight with Tyson Fury, I don't think was a real reflection of Tyson Fury's abilities. I feel like Tyson Fury took chances, many chances that he wouldn't. I don't think he trained that hard because he thought this guy hasn't got a chance coming from the UFC, doesn't know what he's doing. So he underestimated him, definitely. And also, Tyson Fury wanted to make a statement against Francis Ngannou. He wanted to show that there's levels. He wanted to show that he could knock a big guy like Francis Ngannou out. And, after he could say, I thought this guy was the biggest puncher, but what does that make me then? I just knocked him out and things like that. And he wanted that on his name, that he knocked out this big, scary guy. And so he really went for it in the first couple of rounds. And you see him, in the first, second round, I think it was, third round, whenever the knockdown was, he was going for it, setting up that right hand. And he said himself he was greedy. He threw a shot. He saw that Ngannou was waiting for him, and he came in and got dropped. So I feel like if Tyson Fury was to fight Ngannou again, it would be a completely different fight. Basically, it would start off from the later rounds where Tyson Fury was boxing clever. It'd look a lot more like Fury versus Vladimir Klitschko. That's exactly what it would look like. Not taking any chances, on the back foot, really quick moving, quick jab, lots of feints, getting out the way of distance, controlling him with his long arms, following up with the right hand every now and then, but not as often, and it would just be like a points decision. I feel like he'd be so much more careful and really so much more respectful of Francis Ngannou. So I don't know exactly how good Francis Ngannou is when it comes to boxing the elites, and because of all those advantages, I think Anthony Joshua will probably do it in the end. I wouldn't be surprised if he stops him, first person to stop Ngannou in the boxing ring. I wouldn't be surprised, because another reason, this is the last reason I would say, Anthony Joshua has grown, not just physically, but he's grown in his skill set. He has got a lot of experience, and I feel like he is adding to that skill set now. If you watch him against Otto Wallin, he's doing things he didn't really do before. He's feinting certain shots and throwing other shots now, and that's higher level than what he was doing before. He's picking his timing, he's setting up his power shots, which he wasn't doing before as well. He's got so much experience. Where he fought Usyk, and Usyk kind of was moving so much that he couldn't Usyk did certain things to him in the ring, and now he realizes that he has to make his power count. He has to set up his power shots. He can't be too, not lazy, but complacent. He can't be too complacent, jabbing and waiting on the back foot. He's got to set up his power shots. As a big, powerful guy, he's got to land powerful shots. And I think he's got the right balance now between boxing on the back foot and coming forward. And I just feel like Ngannou is kind of fighting Joshua at a time where Joshua is really kind of ascending in when it comes to skills, if you see what I mean. So I've got Anthony Joshua winning. I think if it goes to points, Ngannou is certified in my estimation, because I feel like Joshua should be able to stop Ngannou. From what I saw with the Wallin fight, the way he's setting up those power shots, I didn't even see that shot that really stunned Wallin. I didn't even see it coming. And he's working on these things in the gym now. And like I said, Joshua, I feel like he's really coming into his own now, to be honest. So yeah, Ngannou's learning on the job. Ngannou will learn no matter what happens in this fight. He will learn massively, but I feel like he will eventually, learn from a loss to Anthony Joshua, and to both men, in fact. Moving on, we've got Keith Thurman versus Tim Tszyu. I forgot to say that. We'll briefly speak about that. Now, I spoke about this on another video, so I'm not going to spend a long time on it. My views haven't changed. I am kind of torn between the two, but I do feel Tim Tszyu will win. I think Tim Tszyu is just a bit, he's a big guy. He's a big puncher. He's a proper, natural 154-pound fighter. He's a lot bigger than Keith Thurman. And, I don't think he's a slouch. Like, a lot of people think he's just this, quite a hard puncher, but he's not really a good mover and he's stuck in the mud. And I don't think he's exactly like that. Yes, I don't think he has the fastest feet, but I definitely think he has faster hands than people think. And I think Keith Thurman's going to find that out. Also, I don't think he's bad at cutting off the ring and forcing engagement. Before, it was kind of 70-30 in favour of Tim Tszyu, and now I'm kind of 60-40 in favour of Tim Tszyu. The main reason is just because I watched Tim Tszyu and I saw some flaws. Keith Thurman can definitely exploit a lot of things, movement, angles, and stuff like that. But I think when he gets tired and he runs out of space, as Tim Tszyu is quite good at cutting off the ring, I think we're going to start to see the bigger, heavier man land some heavier shots, and then all that movement that Keith Thurman does is going to start to stop, and he's going to have to trade. And I think he's just going to come off second place to the bigger man. I could be very wrong in this fight. Keith Thurman is extremely skilled. I would not be surprised if I was wrong. But I'm going to stick with my prediction. Tim Tszyu for a really good high level scalp for Tim Tszyu there. Moving swiftly on, we go to Lomachenko versus Kambosos. This is going to be a good fight. I don't care what people say about Kambosos. A lot of people do not rate Kambosos very highly. I actually think he's a really good fighter. He is a really good fighter, does a lot of things right. He trained a long time with Manny Pacquiao. He's got extremely fast hands. And, he's tricky. He's very tricky. I feel like a lot of people are basing Kambosos, the way Kambosos got beaten so convincingly by Haney, and then Haney struggled quite a lot with Loma, his most difficult fight. People are putting two and two together and coming up with the fact that Kambosos has no chance against Lomachenko. But I completely disagree. Kambosos is a real dog. He struggles against Haney because Haney is naturally a much bigger man with skills. Haney will go up to 147, probably finish his career at 154. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up to 160. He can. I feel like he has a frame that can really grow into his weight classes. But these smaller guys like Lomachenko and Kambosos, they're very limited. They can't go much higher than where they are. So I feel like that is what made the biggest difference in the Kambosos and Haney fight. Haney was just a much bigger guy, and yes, he has the skills. And because Kambosos has an attacking style, that made for the counterpuncher, which is Haney. So it made it look so one-sided. With Lomachenko now, they're about the same size. Kambosos is probably a little bit bigger than Lomachenko, but there's not much in it. So there isn't going to be a huge strength size difference. I feel like Kambosos is a real warrior, and he's got good punching power and, like I said, good speed. But if Lomachenko can avoid those sharp, fast shots that he throws and those funny angles, Lomachenko should win, because Lomachenko has better foot speed. He's got a lot of defensive skills that he's always used since the amateurs, and we all know that Kambosos is not great when he's fighting a defensive wizard like Lomachenko. I think this is a good matchup. It's definitely not a mismatch. It's kind of, I feel like I want to say it's kind of a 50-50 fight, mainly because of Lomachenko's age. Lomachenko is definitely getting older. He's kind of showing that age now. And this could be the time for Kambosos, I think if Lomachenko lost, I wouldn't be surprised, because he's getting a bit older, and I feel like that's going to impact the fight. But Kambosos has got a very strong mentality, and he keeps coming, and he's difficult to beat. Anybody his size is difficult to beat. That's what I personally think. I'm going to go for Lomachenko anyway, but I've got a feeling I might be wrong. I think the younger man might just edge it all the way to the end. I feel like Kambosos has got that kind of strong drive in him that he's not going to give up like an Ortiz or something like that. And I could be wrong, so I'm not sure about that one. My mind kind of wants to go with Kambosos, but because of the experience, I'm going to go with Lomachenko. Swiftly on to the next fight, we've got the Undisputed, Beterbiev versus Demetrius Bivol. This is very difficult to pick. Probably more difficult than all the fights put together. They're so skilled, both of them. Beterbiev is an absolute savage. Everybody knows that. He's not just a savage and a hard puncher, but he also has defense. He has enough intellect and experience to set up his punches. But no matter how much speed and boxing skills you have, once you get hit flush by a few of his shots, all of that goes out the window. You see a lot of fighters slow down, and they're just in survival mode a lot of the times. And Beterbiev he basically wears down all of his opponents, and they eventually just wilt under the pressure. And that includes everybody who fights Beterbiev. Anthony Yard, Callum Smith, all these great fighters, really good fighters, they all look ordinary fighting against Beterbiev. I think the only exception, if there is an exception, and I'm not even sure there is an exception, will be Demetrius Bivol. Demetrius Bivol, to me, I think he's got extremely high level boxing skills. Surprise, surprise. I know everyone knows that already. But I think there's things that Bivol will do that nobody else has done against Beterbiev. The movement, the skills, the boxing, the distance control, which is going to be pivotal. I think Bivol has really good distance control. I like the way he sets up his shot. I like the way he gets out the way. I like the way he knows how to move, when to move, how to avoid big shots, when to tie up somebody, which we don't see him do much, but he have to do against Beterbiev. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel like I might be leaning towards Bivol getting a split decision. I feel like Bivol might just be a few steps ahead of Beterbiev, and Beterbiev not being able to really catch up with Bivol. And maybe in the later rounds, Beterbiev may get some really good shots off, but eventually it might go to Bivol by decision. Moving around, punching at the right time, sharp shooting, getting some good jabs in there. I see him catching Beterbiev with a lot of jabs, but not hurting Beterbiev. I don't think he'll hurt him, but he'll catch him with a lot of shots. And I think Bivol is so sharp that he may hit Beterbiev with a shot that he doesn't quite see and drop Beterbiev. Just like an off-balance shot, not like he's hurt or wobbly, just an off-balance shot. And I feel like Bivol kind of has that style where he's just a really good boxer. I could see him mounting up points. And I could definitely see Beterbiev coming back in the later rounds. So I'm not sure. But I'm going to go for Bivol by decision. A split decision. I think it's going to be brutal. I think Bivol needs, and I think he knows this, but he needs not to get hit by those big shots from Beterbiev. And I don't know how easy that's going to be, or how possible that's going to be, but that's what he needs to do to have a chance. Now, if he doesn't do that and he gets hit by a few big shots from Beterbiev and he can't move as much, Beterbiev all day is going to close the show. So it's a difficult one. I'm going to stick my neck out and go for Bivol. Even as I'm saying that, I feel like I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to have egg on my face, but I'm going to go for Bivol. That's my final take on it. Let me know what you think of all these fights that I've spoken about. Which one do you disagree with? Which one do you agree with? I don't even know if I agree with myself. There's a few fights that I've mentioned that I'm not sure of. This being one of them. The Anthony Joshua fight, I feel like I'm more sure that I think Anthony Joshua will come through that. But the ones that I'm really confused about will be Bivol and Beterbiev, because I think they're both great. Loma and Kambosos, I really think that's a 50-50 fight, believe it or not. Tim Tszyu and Thurman, like I said, I've got Tszyu, but all tough fights, man. And there's a few other mentions that I wasn't going to mention, but I might as well just mention them on here. We've got Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark. It's another fight that's coming up. It's going to be very interesting. Fraser Clark having a long amateur career, a lot of experience, but not so much in the professional game. And Fabio Wardley being the exact opposite. No experience in the amateurs and quite a lot of experience in the professional game. All that stuff is going to kind of nullify each other, and it's just going to come down to who can implement their game plan the best. So far, I've seen Fabio Wardley be able to kind of impose his will on fighters, and he's getting slicker. There are some boxing skills there. I see him getting out of the way of punches that he did especially against Adelaide. He got out of the way of a lot of punches, and then he landed his own power punches, and we can see he's got power. I haven't really seen enough from Clark, although I do like Clark's boxing skills. He just seems like someone who would give up when it comes down to it. And I think it is going to come down to it. Fabio Wardley is not a quitter. I don't see any quit in him, in his personality, in his character, in his outlook. I don't see any quit in him. Whereas Fraser Clark, I'm not sure about Fraser Clark. I feel like if he was in a tough fight, he would give up. Now, I could be wrong, but I just feel like he's more likely to give up if he was in a tough fight. So I'm going to go for Fabio Wardley in this fight. I think it will be the first fight where he doesn't stop somebody, because I think Clark is too good to be stopped. But I think overall, I've just got Fabio Wardley winning a majority decision, something like that. There's a few other mentions that I might talk about, even though the fights haven't been finalised. there might be a chance that we've got a light heavyweight fight between Joshua Buatsi and Anthony Yarde. Now, this fight is not made yet, but it seems to be, it's being talked about heavily, and I think it's going to be really exciting if these two fight. Nothing's been mentioned, but if they fight, I can't pick a winner. Anthony Yarde has got more experience fighting the bigger names, but this, I don't know, when I watch them both, I like Anthony Yarde. He looks like he's got more power. I like his movement. I like his upper body movement. He looks like a very strong light heavyweight. He looks like someone who could fight at cruiserweight. And Buatsi doesn't look like someone who can fight at cruiserweight. So Yarde does look, a lot bigger in that way. But when it comes down to it, I don't know what it is, but there's something about Buatsi that makes me think that he's more determined. I don't know. I think it's more about, it's not his boxing skills, but it's more his personality. He seems like a guy that doesn't quit. He seems like a guy that will empty the gas tank no matter what. And Yarde, I'm not saying Yarde is a quitter. Not at all. I haven't seen him quit. But Yarde just gives me this impression like he doesn't need to be at the top. If a fight gets really tough, he's someone who will take his foot off the gas and take the loss and, congratulate Buatsi. Oh, Buatsi was a tough fight. He's a good champion. Go back to the drawing board. He seems like someone like that. Now, I don't know why I feel like that, but like I said, I'm not saying he's a quitter at all. I just feel like maybe because he's had some losses already, he's kind of made himself okay with losses, because you have to come to terms with when you lose, you have to accept it to be able to go forward. And, he had a loss against Kovalev, which hurt him a lot because that's when he had that tenacity, and then he lost that, and then he came out short against Beterbiev. And I think now he realises that, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. He's got 2 title shots before. He'll have another one if he lost. He'll have another one. Life goes on. And I feel Anthony Yarde is he wasn't so upset with the Beterbiev loss as he was with the Kovalev loss. So he's maybe got that mentality. Once you lose, you've got that mentality where it's okay. If a loss happens, it's okay. Whereas I feel like Buatsi has just got this really strong personality. I don't think he loses. He has it in his mind like, I don't lose. I could be wrong. He has that unbeaten mentality. So I feel like it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be, back and forward. And if it is a close fight, going through the later rounds, up to the later rounds, I think Buatsi wins just on guts, just because I just think he's more of a gutsy person. I don't know what kind of prediction that is, but it's just something I see in their personality. I want to edge Yarde to win, to be honest, because I think he's got some really great skills and he's a bigger puncher. But like I said, I think I'm going to have to go with Buatsi just because of that personality. I just don't see any quitting in him as a person. I mean, I haven't spoken about skills and, the difference between their skills. They're pretty equal on skills. Buatsi has his own set of unique skills and Anthony Yarde has his own set of attributes, I should say. So I think most of the time in this case, it comes down to mentality. And I think Buatsi has the stronger mentality. Now, as I say, I could easily be wrong about Anthony Yarde. I could be underestimating him. It could easily be the fact that Yarde actually wins quite comfortably, and then that would indicate that Yarde is just behind the top 2 in the world, which would be Bivol and Beterbiev. In actual facts, my bias towards Buatsi might just be coming from the fact that Buatsi just hasn't lost yet. But let me know what you think. Do you see this, what I'm saying about their mentality? When you see them, do you think that maybe it's just because Yarde has already lost? He's no longer unbeaten, and that's why he seems a bit softer, a little bit okay with losing. Let me know what you think. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about Oleksandr Usyk versus Tyson Fury. We know this is still a mega fight, although it was rescheduled and there's been a back and forward and some shenanigans on both sides. Well, on Tyson Fury's side anyway. May the 18th, I think it's rescheduled for. Yeah, May the 18th, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. This is a big one. And the reason why I say that is my prediction has changed. When this fight was first spoken about, before it was even made, I said Tyson Fury. I like Oleksandr Usyk. He is unique. He's amazing. Coming up from cruiserweight, doing all the things he's done, beating Anthony Joshua, all these things at heavyweight. I said, you know, there's no one better than him apart from probably... I didn't even say Tyson Fury is better. I just thought that he has a unique set of attributes that Usyk can't learn, you know. He can't learn to be a bigger man and use his weight advantage. And he's those long arms, that long reach. Tyson Fury knows how to use it. And, you know, just all those attributes I thought would be a bit too much for Usyk. Fast forward to today, my opinion is the total opposite. After seeing Tyson Fury, I feel like he's lost, I wouldn't say he's lost the love for the game, but he's lost something. Tyson Fury's definitely lost something. He's still boxing because of wanting to keep his mental health in check. And that's no reason to still be boxing. Boxing because you want to keep your mental health in check and you want to be keeping active is not going to win you the heavyweight champion of the world. When I look at Usyk, I see a completely focused individual. You know, I've seen him training and he trains in unique styles and so many things he can do. He's fast, so quick, he sets an amazing pace. All the attributes that Tyson Fury has, I think, will be nullified, you know. I don't think Oleksandr Usyk is going to allow Tyson Fury to use his weight and lean on him. I don't think Tyson Fury is a faster puncher. And I feel like even though Tyson Fury, when he's fit, he can be quite, you know, fast on his feet. I think Oleksandr Usyk will match that, you know. So it's going to be difficult for Fury. Also, when we talk about mentality, Tyson Fury has a strong mentality, but Usyk, I don't see Usyk giving up either. And I just feel like he's a harder worker. He's been working all this time on his skills, perfecting his skills, and he's made a lot of tough fights look easy. And I think Tyson Fury, I think time's kind of run out for him when it comes to this. You know, he's just not focused enough. You know, he never looks in the kind of shape that he's going to need to beat Usyk. Even his father said the shape that he's in and the training that he's doing with Sugar Hill doesn't beat Oleksandr Usyk. And I mean, on this occasion, I feel like I have to agree with John Fury, Big John Fury. He's not focused and dedicated like he was in the beginning. And for that reason, I got Oleksandr Usyk winning, probably a majority decision, definitely not a knockout or a stoppage, but I definitely think some kind of a decision, maybe a split decision, but I feel like we'll see Usyk become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and then maybe we'll see Tyson Fury retire after that. But yeah, I don't know, bold statements. Let me know what you think of some of the points that I've raised. I'm on to the next one.
Guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's